As you settle in tonight, consider this quiet truth. We spend nearly 1/3 of our lives in a state of profound mystery, sleep. It's the nightly retreat our minds and bodies absolutely need, a biological imperative we cannot ignore for long. Yet sometimes, staying awake becomes an unwilling experiment in what we truly are. So as you drift off into the peaceful unknown of your own rest, let's carefully consider what happens when we refuse this fundamental surrender to slumber, and what that refusal reveals about the restless machinery of our minds. Imagine, if you will, a young man named Randy Gardner, just a high school student in San Diego. It was the winter of 1963, a time of beehive hairdos and moondream talk, and Randy had set himself a curious challenge. He wanted to know what would happen if he simply stopped sleeping. Not for a night, or 2 or 3, but for as long as he possibly could. It was a science fair project, yes, but also something more. A quiet, stubborn test of human endurance. And so one morning in late December, the alarm buzzed, he opened his eyes, and he decided he wouldn't close them again for a very long time. He began what would become a legendary vigil against the most fundamental of human needs. For the first day, it felt like a lark, a sleepover that never ended. But by day 2, the edges of the world began to soften. His eyes felt gritty, as if filled with sand. He'd stare at a wall and the paint would seem to shimmer. His friends stayed up with him, playing basketball, pinball, anything to keep his body moving. They monitored him, wrote down his slurred speech, his stumbles. They were young men trying to keep a ship afloat in a sea of gathering fog. On the 3rd day, the fog began to creep into his mind. Randy started to experience what we now call microsleeps. His eyelids would droop for just a second. His head would nod, and in that tiny fragment of time, he'd be gone, dreaming while standing up. It was as if his brain, desperate for the nourishment of sleep, was sneaking tiny sips of it behind his back. His mood began to swing like a slow, weary pendulum, from giddy laughter one moment to sudden, inexplicable irritation the next. The simple act of choosing what to eat for a snack became a monumental, confusing task. By the 5th day, things grew stranger still. He began to hallucinate. Not dramatic visions, but subtle, unsettling shifts in reality. A street sign would seem to melt and reform. He'd see patterns shifting in the carpet. He once became convinced that he was a famous football player, living a completely different life. It was as if the projector of his consciousness was starting to spool the wrong film, overlaying dream reels onto the waking world. His speech became thick, his coordination faltered. He couldn't repeat simple tongue twisters. The word white became an impossible tangle of consonants. Yet, through it all, Randy kept going. pushed by a teenager's stubborn pride, watched over by his friends and a curious sleep researcher from Stanford named Dr. William Dement, and the world started to take notice. Newspapers picked up the story. People wondered, with a mix of horror and fascination, just how long this boy could last. Could the human body really just skip this vital function? On day 9, the strain was visible to everyone. His face was pale, his eyes hollow. But something curious happened. After that low point, a kind of second wind seemed to arrive. Not energy exactly, but a muted automatic persistence. His body was running on fumes, but the machine kept moving forward, guided by sheer habit and will. And finally, on the 11th day, after 264 hours of relentless consciousness, Randy Gardner broke the known world record. He was ushered into a naval hospital, electrodes placed on his scalp, and at last he was allowed to sleep. He slept for nearly 15 hours straight. When he woke, the fog had lifted. The melting signs were gone. But the story wasn't quite over. They tested his cognitive functions, and here's the surprising thing. After just one night of recovery sleep, his basic reasoning and memory seemed remarkably intact. It was as if his brain, during that long ordeal, had protected its most essential core. The damage was to the periphery, the mood, the perception, the fine motor skills, but the central command center had been safeguarded, waiting patiently for the chance to reboot. Randy Gardner's story is a gentle reminder of our profound biological connection to the rhythm of day and night. His 11-day journey was a map of what happens when we stray from that rhythm, a slow unraveling of the self. It showed us that sleep isn't a luxury or a pause. It's the quiet, nightly renovation of our minds, a necessary retreat where the chaos of the day is sorted, the memories are filed, and the self is gently put back together. And this leads us to wonder, if staying awake causes such a profound disassembly, what is it about sleep itself that makes this nightly restoration possible? What are the quiet biological processes that Randy's body was so desperately craving? This is where his personal story of endurance meets the timeless ticking of a clock deep within us all. There is, nestled deep within the most ancient parts of all our brains, a clock. A quiet, biological metronome that does not care for the time on our phones or the schedule of our days. It is set to the grand, slow rhythm of the earth itself, the turning of our planet, the rising and fading of the light. We can ignore it, fight it, override it with bright screens and stimulating drinks, but this inner clock, this circadian rhythm, governs the fundamental ebb and flow of our being, the quiet push and pull of wakefulness and sleep, and its most loyal companion, the mechanism it relies upon to transform its gentle signals into a physical, undeniable command, is a simple chemical, a molecule that builds up tick by tick in the fluid of your brain from the very moment you open your eyes. Think of this chemical called adenosine as the ash of a fire. From the moment your consciousness sparks to life in the morning, your billions of brain cells begin to burn energy. They talk to one another in bursts of electrical and chemical fireworks, managing your thoughts, your movements, your senses. And like any fire, they leave a residue. Adenosine is that residue. It is a byproduct of energy use, a gentle signal of work completed. And as the day stretches on, with every thought, every decision, every flicker of attention, more of this ash settles. More adenosine molecules drift through the spaces between your neurons and gently latch onto their surfaces. Each one is a tiny, weightless grain. But together they accumulate. They build and build and build. You can't feel a single grain of this ashy adenosine. But as hundreds of billions of them gather, they begin to exert a pressure. This is what sleep scientists call homeostatic sleep drive, or simply sleep pressure. It is the direct biological record of how long you have been awake. The longer you are conscious and active, the more adenosine ash settles in your brain, and the greater this sleep pressure becomes. It is the primary reason a long day feels heavy, why your thoughts turn sluggish, why your eyelids begin their slow, insistent descent. This is not a flaw or a weakness. It is a profound and ancient protection. It is your body's way of keeping a ledger, of ensuring that every period of glorious energetic burning is eventually balanced by a period of cleaning, repair, and restoration. Now imagine this adenosine ash building up in a room. The room is your brain. Throughout the day, the ash settles on every surface, making the air thick and heavy. Your inner clock, your circadian rhythm, is like a janitor with a strict schedule. For most of the day, it keeps the door to this room locked. It tells the adenosine, not yet. The body is still at work. It actively promotes alertness and focus, working in opposition to the steady buildup. That post-lunch dip you might feel, that is not just the food, it is often a brief natural trough in your circadian drive for wakefulness, a moment where the sleep pressure, the adenosine, suddenly feels a little more noticeable. But then the clock pushes back. In the late afternoon, many people experience what's called a second wind, a renewed sense of energy as the circadian rhythm surges again to fight off the accumulating pressure. But the clock, the wise janitor, has a schedule written in starlight and sunrise. As evening approaches and light fades, this clock begins a fundamental shift. It stops fighting the adenosine. It unlocks the door. And it begins to signal to another part of your brain, the pineal gland, a tiny pine cone-shaped structure. This gland receives the message and starts to produce a hormone called melatonin. Melatonin is the chemical whisper of darkness. It doesn't put you to sleep directly, like flipping a switch. Instead, it is the gentle usher that escorts you to the theater of sleep. It quiets the systems that promote wakefulness. It lowers your body temperature by a degree or two. It says to your racing thoughts, the stage is being prepared. The show is about to begin. So now you have a powerful convergence. On one side, you have the heavy physical pressure of the adenosine, the literal record of all the day's spent energy pressing down. On the other, you have the elegant, time-based signal from your circadian clock, opening the doors and dimming the lights through melatonin. The urge to sleep, at its biological core, is this perfect meeting. It is when the internal chemical ledger says enough at the precise moment that your planetary clock says, now is the time to rest. This is not an accident. It is one of the most exquisitely choreographed processes in your entire body. The pressure and the timing work in concert to create what feels like an irresistible pull, a gentle gravitational force drawing you toward the pillow. And what is the beautiful purpose of this pull? Why build such an elaborate, two-part system just to make us unconscious for a third of our lives? The drive to sleep is not a punishment or an inconvenience. It is the most fundamental form of cellular maintenance and neurological protection we possess. While your conscious mind is blissfully absent, adenosine is being cleared away. The ash of the day's mental fires is swept from between your neurons, recycled, and made ready to fuel tomorrow's thoughts. Your brain cells, which have been working tirelessly, actually shrink by nearly 60% during deep sleep. This shrinkage increases the space between them, allowing cerebrospinal fluid, the brain's own cleansing fluid, to rush through and wash away metabolic toxins that accumulate during waking hours. Among these toxins are proteins linked to neurodegenerative diseases. It is as if every single night you are giving your brain a thorough, purifying bath, a reset that defends its very structure. Your immune system is being catalogued and strengthened. Memories are being sorted and solidified from short-term storage into long-term archives, and emotional experiences are being processed and integrated. All of this critical, life-sustaining work requires the unique state of sleep. So the sleep pressure you feel, that lovely heavy pull, is not a burden. It is an invitation to enter this vital workshop. It is a protective signal, as essential as the signal of thirst or hunger. It is your body's way of saying to continue being you, to think clearly, to remember, to feel balanced, to fight off illness. You must come inside now and let the essential work of the night begin. When we listen to this signal, when we surrender to the merging of sleep pressure and circadian timing, We are aligning ourselves with a rhythm that predates cities, electricity, and human consciousness itself. We are allowing a protective, restorative process, millions of years in the making, to unfold as it was designed to. But of course, the modern world is filled with reasons to ignore it, to push back against this gentle tide. To have just one more episode, to send just a few more emails, to chase a quiet moment after a noisy day. So what happens when we decide to stay on the shore, when we look at the gathering biological tide and choose to walk the other way? What are the first subtle whispers from a brain being gently deprived of its protective reset? We'll trace those whispers next. And now, we drift into the third segment of our exploration, the first full day without sleep. 24 hours have passed since last you rested, and you might imagine you're holding up quite well. There's a certain buzz, a wired energy that feels almost like momentum. But beneath that surface current, something else is stirring. Imagine a clear morning in a valley, just as the first tendrils of mist begin to rise from the river. They're wispy at first, almost beautiful. That's where we are now. The fog is beginning to settle in. You might notice it first as you try to concentrate. A thought forms, but as you reach for the next logical step, it feels just out of grasp, like a word stuck on the tip of your tongue. Your mind, which usually flows like a swift, clear stream, begins to meander. It takes a little longer to follow a conversation, to remember why you walked into a room, to make a simple decision. This isn't just tiredness, it's a specific kind of cognitive fog. Researchers call it a deficit in sustained attention. Your brain's ability to hold its focus on a single task, to filter out distractions and stay on the rails of a thought, begins to falter. It's as if the conductor of your mental orchestra is getting a little sleepy, and the sections of the ensemble aren't quite in sync. The music is still playing, but the timing is off. A note is missed here and there. And as your thoughts grow foggier, something interesting happens to your emotions. They become less tethered, more reactive. You might feel a sudden wave of irritability at a minor inconvenience, or find yourself disproportionately amused by something silly. The part of your brain responsible for emotional regulation, the prefrontal cortex, is one of the first areas to feel the strain of sleep deprivation. It's like the wise, patient elder who usually helps mediate disputes within your mind is taking a nap. Without that moderating influence, the more primitive, reactive parts of your brain have more say. So a frustrating email doesn't just annoy you, it can feel like a personal affront. A sad song on the radio might bring you unexpectedly close to tears. The world feels just a little sharper, a little less buffered, and your responses to it are a little less measured. Let's think about your body now, moving through this first day. your coordination begins its subtle decline. You might be a little clumsier, fumbling with keys or spilling a drop of coffee. Your reaction time slows just by fractions of a second, but enough that driving becomes measurably riskier. It's as if the communication lines between your brain and your muscles are experiencing a slight delay, like a satellite signal with a bit of lag. Your brain sends the command to catch the falling pen, but the message arrives a moment too late. And then there are the whispers from a system working overtime, your immune system. At the 24-hour mark, these are just murmurs, easy to miss. But studies show that even one night of missed sleep can cause a dip in the activity of your natural killer cells, the special forces of your immune system that patrol for viruses and abnormal cells. Your body also begins to produce more inflammatory markers, little chemical signals of stress. Think of it as your body's internal maintenance crew, who usually work the night shift to repair and defend, starting to grumble about the mandatory overtime. They're still on the job, but they're tired and their efficiency is dropping. You might not feel sick, but your defenses are just slightly lowered, making you a little more susceptible to whatever bug is going around. Hunger cues can become strangely amplified. The hormones that regulate your appetite, leptin and ghrelin, get out of balance. Ghrelin, which signals hunger, increases. Leptin, which signals fullness, decreases. So you may find yourself craving carbohydrate-rich, sugary foods, seeking a quick burst of energy that your weary brain desperately wants. It's a biological plea for fuel, a short-term fix for a deepening energy debt. All the while, a profound pressure is building, the pressure to sleep. The sleep-inducing chemical adenosine has been accumulating in your brain since the moment you woke up yesterday. Normally, sleep clears it away. Now it's reaching higher and higher concentrations, creating a stronger and stronger pull toward unconsciousness. It's like a weight being added to a scale, gently but insistently tilting the balance toward sleep. Your body is waving a white flag, but your conscious mind, perhaps fueled by caffeine or necessity, is trying to ignore it. You push through the afternoon, the fog thickening. Tasks that require creativity or novel problem-solving become particularly challenging. Your brain, in its energy conservation mode, starts to default to well-worn neural pathways, to habitual responses. It's less likely to make new creative connections. You're running on mental routines now, not inspiration. As evening approaches on that first sleepless day, the world might take on a slightly surreal quality. Colors may seem a little less vivid, sounds a little more muffled or oddly sharp. This is the sensory distortion that comes when a tired brain struggles to process incoming information accurately. The veil between you and the world grows just a little thicker. So here you are at the end of the first day. You are functional but compromised. A gentle fog envelops your thoughts. Your emotions sit closer to the surface, and your body is beginning its quiet, multi-system protest. You have crossed a threshold. The temporary buzz of wakefulness has burned off, revealing the true cost of the debt you're accruing. And as the fog of this first day deepens, we will soon drift into a stranger territory where the mind begins to take its own involuntary breaks and the body's protests grow more pronounced. Imagine your mind as a great library, vast and orderly, with knowledge carefully filed away in shelves of memory, with concentration acting as the diligent librarian who can retrieve exactly what you need when you need it. Now, as we move deeper into our exploration, beyond that first day and into the second, something begins to change in this quiet space. The librarian is getting weary. The system is beginning to strain. And this, my friend, is where we encounter one of the most curious phenomena of prolonged wakefulness, the microsleep. A microsleep is exactly what it sounds like, a tiny fleeting moment of sleep that intrudes into your waking world. It lasts for just a few seconds, sometimes less than a single second, a fragment of unconsciousness that your brain snatches without your permission. It's like the library's lights flickering off for a heartbeat and then back on again. You might be staring at a screen or listening to someone speak, and for that split second, you are gone. Your eyes might glaze over, your head might nod forward, and then you're back, often without even realizing you left. The world didn't change, but you were absent from it for a moment. These microsleeps are your brain's desperate, automatic attempt to grab even the tiniest morsel of the restorative power it is being denied. It's trying to pay a debt with pennies, 1 second at a time. And as these micro moments of sleep become more frequent, the fabric of your waking reality begins to fragment. Your perception, which is normally a smooth, continuous stream, starts to stutter. It becomes like watching a film where frames are missing. Actions seem to jump. Conversations can feel disjointed, as if you missed a crucial line. You might reach for a cup and find your hand is already there, the motion feeling unconnected to your intention. This is the quiet unraveling of a coherent experience. Your brain, in its exhaustion, is no longer seamlessly stitching together the sensory information it receives. The librarian is no longer carefully filing each new piece of data. They are just letting papers fall onto the desk, creating a growing pile of unsorted moments. This fragmentation extends deeply into your emotional world as well. Think of your emotions as a calm, deep lake. Normally, even when winds blow, the surface might ripple, but the depths remain steady. After 48 hours awake, that lake becomes shallow and turbulent. The smallest pebble of frustration can send violent waves crashing. You might find yourself irrationally angry over a minor inconvenience, or suddenly inexplicably weepy at a sentimental thought. This emotional volatility isn't a character flaw, it's a physiological state. The parts of your brain that regulate emotion, particularly the prefrontal cortex, are some of the first to suffer from sleep deprivation. They are the managers of restraint and reason, and when they go offline, the raw, unfiltered responses of more primal brain areas come rushing to the surface. You are literally losing your executive control over how you feel. And while this internal landscape is becoming more chaotic, something equally profound is happening on a cellular level, something you cannot see or feel, but which is critically important. Your immune system begins a significant decline. Imagine your body's defenses as a standing army, vigilant and well-trained. Sleep is when that army rests, resupplies, and trains new recruits. After 2 full days without that crucial downtime, the soldiers are exhausted. Sentries start to nod off at their posts. Communication between units becomes sluggish. The production of vital proteins called cytokines, which act as messengers to rally the troops during an infection, slows down. Meanwhile, your body starts producing more inflammation-promoting substances. It's as if the command center is issuing confused orders, standing down the alert forces while accidentally sounding alarms in empty barracks. Research shows that after 48 hours of sleep deprivation, the activity of natural killer cells, specialized immune cells that hunt down viruses and cancer cells, can drop dramatically. Your body becomes far more susceptible to invasion. A common cold virus that your well-rested self might have fought off without a symptom can now take hold. This isn't just feeling run down, it's a measurable biological vulnerability. Your body is sacrificing its long-term defense for short-term operation, a trade-off with serious consequences. So here we are, in this space of the second day. The mind is flickering with microsleeps. Reality is losing its smooth edges. Emotions are raw and close to the surface, and the body's silent guardians are beginning to falter. It is a state of profound dissonance. You are technically awake, moving through the world, but the essential processes that create a stable, healthy, coherent self are quietly disassembling. You are becoming a fragmented version of yourself, operating on emergency reserves. And as we sit with this understanding of the library, with its flickering lights and its piles of unsorted papers, we approach a new threshold. A point where the very nature of perception begins to shift in even more profound ways. Let's pause here for a moment, and then we'll cross over. As we continue our quiet exploration of wakefulness extended beyond what our bodies were ever meant to bear, we begin to leave the simple linear timeline of days and hours, and instead drift into a more contemplative space. We must gently examine what happens when the architecture of the mind itself, starved of its essential nightly repairs, begins to slowly and systematically disassemble. We've seen the muddled thinking of the first day, the microsleeps of the second. We now find ourselves looking at that state where sleep deprivation isn't just a feeling of tiredness, but a transformation of reality. This is when the mind, in its profound exhaustion, begins to wander alone, generating its own truth. Think of the human brain not as a single simple machine, but as a vast, dimly lit library that is tended to each night. The custodians of this library are the quiet, restorative processes of sleep. They reshelve the day's experiences, they catalog memories, they take out the proverbial trash of metabolic waste. Most importantly, they turn down the lights. This allows the library's main reading room, our conscious awareness, to go quiet and dark. Now imagine a library forced to stay bright, bustling, and open for business night after night, with no custodial staff ever arriving. The lights begin to flicker. The librarians, our cognitive functions, grow clumsy, dropping books, misfiling information. And eventually, in those dark, dusty corners of the stacks where no one is watching, strange things begin to move and whisper on their own. This is the landscape of the third day and beyond. Here, the phenomenon known as sleep deprivation psychosis begins to emerge. The brain, desperate to make sense of a world its sensory filters can no longer properly process, starts to fill in the blanks with its own inventions. The whispers from the dusty stacks become auditory hallucinations, a voice calling your name from an empty room, a faint music with no source. The moving shadows in your peripheral vision solidify into visual phantoms, a fleeting figure in a doorway, a scuttling insect across the floor that vanishes when you look directly. These are not dreams, for there is no sleep to dream in. They are waking dreams, projected directly onto the canvas of exhausted perception. They are the mind's attempt to create signal from the overwhelming noise of its own fatigue. With this fractured sense of reality comes a profound and unsettling companion: paranoia. The exhausted mind, struggling with basic logic and social cues, retreats into a defensive, suspicious state. The comforting assumption that the world is benevolent and predictable melts away. Co-workers' innocent comments feel like coded insults. The hum of a refrigerator becomes evidence of surveillance. The world feels tilted, hostile, and full of hidden meanings aimed directly at you. This isn't rational fear. It's the cognitive immune system going haywire, seeing threats everywhere because it can no longer distinguish friend from foe, signal from noise. The library's security system is now malfunctioning, interpreting every creak of the floorboards as an intruder. This cognitive decline is severe and all-encompassing. The simplest tasks, following a recipe, making a budget, holding a coherent conversation, become insurmountable mountains. Short-term memory is almost entirely offline. You might walk into a room a dozen times, each time forgetting why you entered. attention becomes a flickering candle in a draught, impossible to sustain. Reading a paragraph requires rereading each sentence multiple times, as the words simply refuse to cohere into meaning. The executive functions of the prefrontal cortex, the head librarian, the planner, the decision maker, have effectively closed for business, leaving the more primitive emotional parts of the brain running the show without oversight. And it is not just the mind that falters. The body's motor systems, governed by a cerebellum equally starved of rest, begin to betray you. Movements become slow, clumsy, and uncoordinated, a state researchers call psychomotor retardation. Your hands might tremble. Your speech may slur, as if you are slightly intoxicated. Walking can require conscious, deliberate effort, each step a calculated maneuver rather than an automatic process. It feels as though you are piloting your body through a thick syrup, with a significant delay between your intention and the action. Reaction times slow dramatically, making activities like driving profoundly dangerous. The elegant, silent communication between brain and body has been reduced to a clumsy, staticky telephone line. We must speak of this with respect, for we are describing a genuine unraveling of the self. The boundary between the inner world of thought and the outer world of fact becomes porous. The integrated you, a continuous stream of consciousness, memory, and bodily awareness, begins to fragment. Time itself distorts, stretching and compressing in strange ways. Minutes can feel like hours, and hours can disappear into a foggy blank. You are still present, but you are no longer the reliable narrator of your own experience. The orchestra of your being is still playing, but without a conductor, and with many of the musicians playing from different dissonant scores. This systemic collapse highlights a beautiful and terrifying truth about our biology. We are not a collection of separate parts, but an exquisitely integrated network. Deny one fundamental process, sleep, and the disturbance echoes through every system. The hormonal rhythms that govern stress, hunger, and mood are thrown into chaos. The immune system becomes both sluggish and hyperreactive, like a weary guard who both misses real threats and fires at shadows. The cardiovascular system labors under constant stress. The brain's glymphatic system, which relies on the quiet of sleep to flush away the metabolic waste products of the day's thinking, falls desperately behind, allowing a kind of toxic fog to accumulate among the neurons. So, as we contemplate this lonely wandering of the mind, we see it not as a singular event, but as the final obvious symptom of a whole organism in a state of graceful, desperate crisis. The hallucinations and paranoia are the mind's poignant, distorted signal that the foundational need for restoration has been dangerously, perilously ignored. It is the library's fire alarm ringing in the silence of a building that never closes. It tells us, in the only way it can, that to continue forward is to risk permanent damage to the very shelves and volumes that hold the story of who we are. And as we sit with this understanding, we might gently wonder what happens when we finally, mercifully, allow the lights to be turned out and the custodians to return to their quiet, essential work. As we've been exploring the landscape of sleep deprivation, we've seen how it affects our entire being. But now, let's take a more focused journey, a quiet tour into the very center of it all, into the weary brain itself. Picture this not as a clinical examination, but as a gentle exploration of a remarkable organ that, like all living things, needs its rest to truly shine. Think of your brain not as some mysterious alien landscape, but as a bustling, magnificent city. It has its bustling downtown centers, its quiet, sprawling neighborhoods, its high-speed highways for communication, and its dedicated cleaning crews. When sleep descends, it's like the city's bustling day finally winds down for the night. This is when the maintenance crews come out to work, when the streets are cleared, when the buildings are repaired. But what happens when that night shift is cancelled? When the city is forced to stay open 24 hours a day with no relief? That's what we're going to gently explore. Let's begin our tour in the city's executive office, the prefrontal cortex. Nestled right behind your forehead, this region is the CEO of your brain. It's responsible for high-level thinking, making complex decisions, solving intricate problems, planning for tomorrow, and reining in impulsive reactions. When you're well rested, this CEO is sharp, analytical, and in control. But without sleep, this corner office starts to dim. The logic circuits sputter. The brilliant strategist begins to make poor judgments, to act on impulse rather than reason. It becomes harder to think flexibly, to adapt to new information. The CEO of your mind, deprived of the restorative night it needs, has become foggy, irritable, and easily distracted. It's trying its best, but working with a power outage. Now, let's travel a little deeper to a structure nestled in the heart of the brain called the hippocampus. If the prefrontal cortex is the CEO, the hippocampus is the city's meticulous archivist and librarian. It's absolutely crucial for forming new memories, for taking your day's experiences and cataloging them into your long-term mental library. Imagine it as a team of diligent clerks working through the day's paperwork, carefully filing away each new lesson, each conversation, each moment. Sleep is when that filing happens most efficiently. Without it, those clerks are exhausted. They start dropping files. Events from your day get scrambled together or never get filed at all. This is why when you're sleep deprived, you might walk into a room and forget why, or struggle to recall a name you just heard. Your weary librarian is overwhelmed, and the new volumes of your life story are piling up on the floor, unprocessed. our tour continues to a vital relay station, the thalamus. Think of this as the brain's central switchboard operator, its primary communications hub. Most of the information coming from your senses, the touch of your blanket, the sound of this voice, the sight of the room around you, it all funnels through this one critical junction. When you're asleep, the thalamus helps block outside sensory information, allowing the rest of the brain to focus on its internal work. But when you're desperately trying to stay awake, this switchboard goes haywire. It starts to fail. Sensory static creeps in. You might perceive things that aren't there, a flash of light in the corner of your eye, a phantom sound. The clean filtered signal from the outside world becomes a fuzzy, unreliable connection. The very gateway to your perception begins to falter, making the waking world feel unreal and distorted. But there's one more profound change happening during this extended vigil, a silent, critical process that fails. It's connected to something we've only recently begun to truly understand, a system called the glymphatic system. This is the brain's own unique cleaning crew, and it works almost exclusively while we sleep. Here's a beautiful, awe-inspiring image for you. Imagine the spaces between your brain cells expanding by up to 60% as you drift into deep sleep. This creates a surge of cerebrospinal fluid, a clear, pure liquid that washes through the newly widened channels, flushing away the metabolic waste that has built up during the day's intense neuronal activity. This waste includes proteins like beta amyloid, which are associated with Alzheimer's disease. Think of it as your brain taking its nightly bath, washing away the grime of the day's thoughts. When you don't sleep, this expansion doesn't happen. The channels stay narrow. The cleaning fluid can't flow. The metabolic trash accumulates, like a city where the garbage collectors have gone on strike. Over time, this isn't just about feeling foggy in the morning. This is about the long-term health of your neural city. Its most basic infrastructure, the very cleaning of its streets, depends on that deep restorative sleep. So when we look at a tired mind, we're not just seeing a lack of focus or a cranky mood. We're witnessing a magnificent, intricate system that has been denied its essential maintenance period. We're seeing a CEO who can't think straight, an archivist who's lost the files, a switchboard operator who's sending crossed wires, and a city slowly being buried under its own debris. It is a testament to the brain's resilience that it keeps functioning at all under these conditions, but it's a testament to sleep's necessity that this resilience only goes so far. This is the weary brain, not broken but pleading for the quiet, the dark and the deep, cleansing wave of sleep. As the night wears on in our unsleeping city, its cries for rest become messages we ignore at our peril. Messages that start to echo far beyond the confines of the skull, out into the body's own defense systems. And that is a journey we will take next as we see how a weary mind opens the gates to the rest of the body. Now let's journey even deeper into what happens when we stay awake, beyond the foggy thoughts and emotional turbulence to the very heart of what keeps us well. We're going to explore the body's defenses, the quiet army that stands guard while we sleep, and what happens to it when we deprive it of its command to rest. Think of your immune system not as a single organ, but as a vast, intricate network, a kind of internal ecosystem. It's a living, breathing city within you, with different districts and neighborhoods, each with specialized workers. There are the intelligence gatherers, the patrolling guards, the rapid response teams, and the cleanup crews. And during sleep, this city enters its most critical phase of daily operations. It's not shutting down, it's running a comprehensive system-wide update. The patrollers come off their beats to file reports. The cleanup crews sweep the streets of metabolic debris. The intelligence analysts review the day's encounters, cataloging any potential threats, a virus glimpsed, a suspicious protein. And most importantly, the city's factories work through the night, manufacturing new soldiers and specialized weapons for the coming day. One of the most elite of these soldiers is the natural killer cell. Imagine these as the special forces of your immune system. They don't need specific orders to recognize a threat. They're trained to identify cells that have gone rogue, like cancer cells or cells that have been hijacked by viruses. They're the precision strike team, moving silently through your tissues, scanning, evaluating, and when they find a problem, they deliver a lethal package that tells the bad cell to self-destruct. It's a beautiful, elegant system of cellular policing. But what happens when sleep is denied? It's as if the commander of this Special Forces unit never gets the nightly briefing. The soldiers become sluggish. Their training manuals go unread. Their weapons production slows to a crawl. Remarkably, research shows that even a single night of partial sleep deprivation can cause the activity of these natural killer cells to plummet by as much as 70%. Your body's most agile, frontline defenders are effectively stood down. It's like leaving the gates of the city wide open with only a skeleton crew on duty. And that's not all. While the proactive defenses falter, a different, more chaotic kind of immune activity begins to ramp up. This is inflammation. If the natural killer cells are the special forces, think of inflammation as the city's riot police. It's a blunt, powerful and messy response. When triggered, it sends out general alarm signals, calling in whatever forces are available. Blood vessels dilate to allow more troops to the area, which causes swelling and redness. It raises the body's temperature, creating a fever to make the environment hostile to invaders. This inflammatory response is crucial for dealing with acute injuries and infections, a sprained ankle, or a bacterial wound. But it's supposed to be a short, sharp, localized operation. When you don't sleep, something profound happens. The body seems to shift into a state of low-grade, chronic alert. Those inflammatory signals, molecules with names like C-reactive protein and interleukins, begin to circulate through your bloodstream at higher levels, day after day. It's as if the riot alarm has been left on, softly wailing in the background all the time. The city is no longer calm. It's in a perpetual state of uneasy tension. This sustained inflammation is now understood to be a common thread linking sleep deprivation to so many of the chronic illnesses of our time. That simmering, systemic irritation wears on the delicate lining of your blood vessels, contributing to heart disease. It can make your cells less responsive to insulin, nudging you toward type 2 diabetes. It creates an environment where the seeds of illness find it easier to take root and grow. So when you push through on little sleep and then come down with a cold, it's not just bad luck, it's a predictable outcome. You've grounded your special forces and left the riot sirens blaring. Your body's elegant, balanced defense system has been thrown into disarray. The vulnerability is tangible. You are quite literally more open to infection, slower to heal, and priming your system for longer-term dysfunction. All because the deep, restorative quiet of sleep was traded for wakefulness. This delicate internal ecosystem, this city of wellness, requires its period of nightly maintenance to function properly. Without it, the defenses crumble from within, long before any external enemy even arrives. And as this internal balance shifts, the effects ripple outward to touch the very engines of our being, the steady rhythm of the heart, and the intricate dance of turning food into fuel. As we journey deeper into understanding the restless mind and what happens when we stay awake, we come to a critical aspect of our being, one that works quietly in the background of every moment, awake or asleep. We've touched on the foggy brain and the frayed nerves, but now we must turn our attention inward to the very core of our physical vessel, to the heart that beats its steady rhythm and the complex, delicate systems that convert our food into the energy of life. This is where the true, silent strain of sleeplessness reveals itself, not as a fleeting discomfort, but as a profound disturbance to the body's most fundamental rhythms. Imagine, if you will, your cardiovascular system as a vast, intricate network of rivers and canals, with your heart as the great central pumping station. Day and night, this system works to distribute life-giving nourishment and oxygen to every remote corner of your body. It is a system built for resilience, with ebbs and flows, with pressures that rise and fall in a healthy, predictable pattern. Sleep is the maintenance period for this entire network. It is the quiet hours when the pumping station can lower its output, when the pressure in the pipes gently decreases and the entire system gets a chance to rest and repair the wear and tear of the day. When we deprive ourselves of this vital maintenance window, the strain begins to tell. That central pump, your heart, never gets its mandated downtime. The pressure within those rivers, your blood pressure, which should naturally dip during the night, remains stubbornly high. Studies have shown that even a single night of significantly shortened sleep can lead to elevated blood pressure the following day. When this becomes a pattern, when night after night the system is denied its respite, it's like running a delicate engine constantly at high revolutions. The walls of the blood vessels endure more stress. The heart muscle itself works harder. Over time, this unrelenting pressure contributes to inflammation and stiffness in the arteries, setting the stage for long-term cardiovascular concerns. The rhythm that should be a lullaby becomes a relentless, driving march. But the heart's burden is only one part of the story. To understand the full impact, we must venture into the realm of hormones, those tiny, powerful chemical messengers that govern so much of how we feel, function, and even how we crave. In the world of sleep and wakefulness, two hormones in particular engage in a delicate dance: ghrelin and leptin. Think of ghrelin as the body's dinner bell. It is produced largely in the stomach, and its levels rise to signal hunger, telling your brain it's time to seek out fuel. Leptin, on the other hand, is the signal of satisfaction. It is released by fat cells and communicates to the brain that you have sufficient energy stores, that you are full, that you can stop eating. In a well-rested body, this dance is elegant and balanced. Ghrelin rises, you eat. Leptin rises in response, and you feel content. But sleep deprivation throws this entire system into chaos. When you are awake, especially during the late hours when you should be asleep, the body perceives a state of heightened alertness and potential energy need. In response, ghrelin, the hunger hormone, goes up. At the same time, leptin, the satiety hormone, goes down. It's a perfect storm for misguided eating. Your body is chemically tricked into feeling both hungrier and less satisfied by the food you do eat. You find yourself craving calorie-dense, high-carbohydrate, sugary foods, quick sources of fuel for a system that thinks it's in crisis. The kitchen light in the middle of the night isn't just a symptom of boredom. It's a biological imperative driven by this hormonal imbalance. This disruption doesn't end with midnight snacks. It strikes at the very core of how your body manages energy, leading us to the closely linked risks of diabetes and obesity. To understand this, picture your cells as tiny homes, each with a locked door. The hormone insulin acts as the key that unlocks these doors, allowing sugar from your bloodstream, the energy from your food, to enter and be used for power. Sleep is crucial for maintaining your cell's sensitivity to this insulin key. When you are well rested, the locks are well oiled, the keys turn smoothly, and sugar is efficiently ushered out of the blood and into the cells where it belongs. Sleep deprivation, however, causes what is known as insulin resistance. The locks on your cells become rusty and stiff. The insulin key struggles to turn. Sugar, unable to enter the cells, begins to build up in the bloodstream. In the short term, your pancreas works overtime, pumping out more and more insulin to try and force the doors open. This elevated insulin level further promotes fat storage. Over the long term, this exhausted system can begin to fail. The persistent high blood sugar defines a pre-diabetic state, and if the pattern continues, it can develop into type 2 diabetes. Meanwhile, the hormonal chaos of elevated ghrelin and diminished leptin leads to increased calorie intake, often of the wrong kinds of foods, while the body's altered metabolism favors storing those calories as fat. The path from chronic sleep loss to weight gain and metabolic disorder is not a mysterious one. It is a well-charted biological pathway. So when we look at the restless body, we see more than just tired eyes. We see a heart working without a break, a hormonal communication system sending frantic, confused signals, and a metabolic engine slowly gumming up. The price of wakefulness is paid in the currency of our long-term health. It is a quiet, accumulating debt. And this understanding is not new. While modern science has given us the tools to measure blood pressure, hormone levels, and insulin sensitivity, humanity has long intuited the profound power of sleep deprivation and the deep vulnerability it creates. For centuries, this knowledge lived in the shadows, in the practices of interrogators and the tactics of captors. It is to this darker, historical awareness that we must now turn our gentle gaze to understand how the struggle against sleep has been one of humanity's oldest battles, not against ourselves, but against each other. In the quiet darkness as you listen, let us turn now to a sobering chapter of history, a dark knowledge that humanity has possessed for centuries but has too often misused. We have been talking about what happens when we simply can't sleep, but there exists a parallel story, a story of what happens when sleep is deliberately, cruelly taken away, when it is not a biological failure, but a calculated act of power. This is the history of sleep deprivation, not as accident, but as instrument. This knowledge is ancient. The Romans understood it. They had a form of torture known as tormentum vigiliae, the torment of wakefulness. Prisoners would be prevented from sleeping for days. Guards would poke them with sticks the moment their eyelids drooped, splash them with cold water, make loud noises. The goal was not physical pain, but the disintegration of the mind. It was a slow unraveling, a method to make a captive not just confess, but to break their very will, to make them question reality itself. They found that breaking the cycle of sleep was like cutting the mooring lines of a ship. The mind would drift, unanchored, into terrifying hallucinatory waters. This dark thread weaves through the centuries. In medieval Europe, it was sometimes called waking. Suspected witches, heretics, or those accused of treason might be subjected to it. The objective was to produce a state of such extreme suggestibility and confusion that the accused would sign any confession, denounce any companion, simply for the promise of rest. The mind, deprived of its essential repair period, becomes porous. Facts dissolve, memory fractures. The line between what is real and what is imagined blurs into nothingness. In that fog, the Inquisitor's words become the only solid thing to grasp. The practice found new, industrialized forms in the 20th century. During various conflicts and under totalitarian regimes, sleep deprivation became a standard tool in the interrogator's manual. It was given clinical-sounding names, standing cell procedures, stress positions designed to make sleep impossible for days on end. Loud, repetitive music, constant glaring lights that banished darkness, irregular schedules of questioning that never allowed the neural pathways to settle. The goal remained the same: to produce a pliable, broken subject. Psychologists studying these methods have described it as systematically dismantling a person's cognitive architecture. Think of building a sandcastle, grain by grain, with incredible care. Sleep deprivation is like bringing the tide in, not all at once, but wave after relentless wave, washing away the structures of logic, identity, and resolve until nothing coherent remains. Perhaps one of the most chilling documented uses was by the Stasi, the East German secret police. They perfected what they called Zersetzung, decomposition. Sleep deprivation was a key component. The goal wasn't always to extract a confession. Sometimes it was simply to erode a person's psychological integrity, to make them dysfunctional, unreliable, and isolated. They understood that a person denied sleep becomes a ghost of themselves, haunting their own life, unable to trust their own thoughts or perceptions. It is a violence done not to the body, but to the self. This history is not just about physical torture chambers. It exists on a spectrum. Think of the exhausted student pulling an all-nighter before an exam, their mind fuzzy and recall spotty. Now amplify that 1,000-fold. Extend it for days. Remove all hope of respite. Add in fear, intimidation, and purpose. That is the abyss. This knowledge sits with us, a testament to how fundamental sleep is to our humanity. To weaponize it is to acknowledge its sacred power in the most profane way possible. We recognize that to steal someone's sleep is to steal a piece of their soul, their sanity, their connection to a stable world. It is a somber thing to contemplate, this deliberate infliction of a broken state we naturally try to avoid. It casts a long shadow, reminding us that the very thing we seek tonight, this gentle descent into rest, has been for many throughout history a forbidden fruit cruelly withheld. Our understanding of this darkness only deepens our respect for the quiet, healing necessity of the night. So as we sit with this difficult knowledge, a respectful pause feels necessary before we turn from what is done to people to a condition where the body does it to itself, a biological sentence of endless waking. Now, as we've explored the gentle ebb and flow of our natural sleep cycles, and the curious effects that come when we push against those rhythms, we come to perhaps the most profound question of all. What happens when the brain's ability to sleep is not merely suppressed, but truly permanently lost? What happens when the off switch is broken and the mind is condemned to an unending vigil? This brings us to one of the rarest and most heartbreaking conditions known to medical science. A condition so rare that fewer than 100 families worldwide are known to carry its genetic signature. It's called fatal familial insomnia. And while its name tells you the tragic outcome, it doesn't begin to capture the slow, merciless journey its sufferers must endure. Imagine for a moment that your brain is a grand, intricate library. Over the course of each day, you collect books of experience, memories, sensations. At night, the librarians come. These would be your sleep cycles to sort the shelves, file the new acquisitions, repair worn bindings, and prepare for the next day's influx. Now, imagine that a key librarian simply stops showing up for work. At first, the library functions reasonably well. A few books might be misfiled, some shelves become slightly disorganized. But as days turn to weeks and weeks to months, the disorder accumulates. Books pile up unsorted. Shelves overflow. The very architecture of the library begins to suffer under the strain of constant chaotic activity with no time for maintenance. This, in essence, is what happens in fatal familial insomnia. The brain's ability to initiate and sustain the deep restorative stages of sleep is progressively and permanently destroyed. The mechanism behind this tragedy is as fascinating as it is devastating. It's caused by a misfolded protein called a prion. Now, proteins are the workhorses of our cells. They're built from long chains of amino acids that fold into precise, three-dimensional shapes like intricate origami. Their function depends entirely on that perfect fold. In this condition, a single tiny error occurs in the genetic blueprint for a particular brain protein. This error causes the protein to misfold into a dangerous, sticky shape. And here's the terrifying part. This misfolded protein acts like a contagious template. It touches its normal neighbors and forces them to misfold too, in a kind of sinister molecular domino effect. Think of it like a single piece of paper that's been crumpled into a ball, if you place it in a stack of perfectly flat sheets and apply pressure. Those flat sheets begin to crumple as well, adopting the same distorted shape. That's what prions do. They spread through the brain tissue, converting healthy proteins into corrupted versions of themselves. These corrupted proteins clump together, forming toxic aggregates that choke and kill brain cells. In fatal familial insomnia, the prions have a particular appetite for a tiny almond-sized region deep within the brain called the thalamus. The thalamus is the brain's central switchboard. Almost all sensory information, everything you see, hear, and feel, passes through this structure on its way to your conscious awareness. It's also one of the primary gatekeepers of sleep. It helps generate the slow, synchronized brainwaves that characterize deep sleep and acts as a filter, deciding what signals get through to your cortex when you're unconscious. When the prions invade and destroy the thalamus, that switchboard is systematically dismantled. The signals for sleep can no longer be sent. The gates are broken and consciousness is left stranded, wide awake on a shore with no tide to pull it back. The progression of the disease is a slow, multi-stage descent, typically unfolding over 7 to 18 months. It often begins subtly in middle age. The first stage is a creeping, persistent insomnia. A person might find they can no longer nap during the day. Nighttime sleep becomes fragmented, filled with vivid, disturbing dreams that bleed into wakefulness. They may start to sweat profusely. Their pupils may constrict to tiny pinpoints. There's a growing sense of panic, a dread that something is deeply wrong with the very fabric of their being. As weeks turn into months, the insomnia becomes absolute. The person enters a state of perpetual drowsy wakefulness. They may appear to be asleep, their eyes are closed, their body is still, but if you were to look at their brain waves, you'd see no sign of proper sleep architecture. No deep, slow wave sleep. No REM sleep with its rapid eye movements. It's a cruel parody of rest. During the day, they experience terrifying hallucinations and panic attacks. Their autonomic nervous system, which controls things like heart rate and blood pressure, goes haywire. Blood pressure soars. The body temperature fluctuates wildly. In the final stages, dementia sets in as the prion damage spreads beyond the thalamus. The person loses the ability to speak, to walk, to swallow. They become completely unresponsive to their environment. Yet their exhausted brain remains trapped in a state of agitated, confused wakefulness until the body finally gives out. It is, by all accounts, an unimaginable ordeal, both for the sufferer and for the families who must watch this inevitable unraveling. What makes fatal familial insomnia particularly poignant is its genetic nature. It's autosomal dominant, meaning a child of an affected parent has a 50% chance of inheriting the faulty gene. For members of these families, every headache, every night of poor sleep in middle age can carry the shadow of this dread. They live with a sword of Damocles hanging by the slenderest of threads. Modern genetic testing can now identify the mutation, offering certainty but often at the cost of hope. Yet, even in the face of such a bleak and relentless condition, the human spirit and scientific curiosity press on. Studying this extreme boundary of sleep loss has taught us profound lessons. It has shown us with brutal clarity that sleep is not a luxury. It is not optional. It is a non-negotiable biological imperative. The thalamus, that tiny switchboard, is not just involved in sleep. It is essential for it. Without its proper function, the self begins to dissolve. Research into this disease also fuels the broader search for treatments. While there is currently no cure for FFI, understanding the prion mechanism has implications for other neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, which also involve the toxic clumping of misfolded proteins. Each heartbreaking case adds another piece to the immense puzzle of how our brains maintain themselves, and what happens when that maintenance fails. So as we sit here, comfortably drifting in and out of our own gentle states of drowsiness, we can hold a thought for the profound fragility and resilience woven into our biology. The very fact that most of us will sleep tonight, that our thalamic switchboards will dutifully power down our consciousness for renewal, is a miracle we almost never consider. It's the quiet, steady rhythm that sustains everything we are. And with that thought of profound biological gratitude lingering in the quiet space between wakefulness and sleep, we can begin to turn our attention away from the edge of this particular abyss and back toward the remarkable capacity for recovery that lies within us all. As we come to the end of our exploration into the restless mind, we reach perhaps the most comforting part of this entire journey. After all our talks about what happens when we don't sleep, about the delicate symphony of chemistry and consciousness that unravels, we arrive at this gentle truth. The human body possesses a remarkable capacity to heal, to bounce back, when given the chance to rest. It is resilience in its purest, most patient form. So let us wrap ourselves in this final thought, this blanket of reassurance, as we explore how we return to rest, how we recover, and how we build back even stronger after periods of wakefulness. Think of your body as having a kind of emotional and physical ledger. Every hour of deep restorative sleep is a deposit, building up your reserves of energy, your clarity of thought, your emotional balance. And those times when you stay awake through the night, or when sleep eludes you for whatever reason, those are withdrawals from that account. The beautiful, forgiving part of this system is that you can make deposits again. Your body doesn't hold a grudge. It doesn't refuse your attempts to repay the debt. It simply opens its arms and says, "Welcome back. Let's rest." This process has a name in the world of sleep science: sleep rebound. It's a beautiful term, isn't it? Rebound. It implies a bounce, a return, a springing back to a place of equilibrium. After a period of sleep deprivation, your body doesn't just sleep normally. It actively prioritizes the deepest, most restorative stages of sleep, the slow-wave sleep and REM sleep that are so crucial for physical repair and cognitive processing. It's as if your brain, recognizing the deficit, goes into a kind of focused recovery mode. It says, "All right, we missed our maintenance window, let's make this count." And so, in that first full night of recovery sleep, you will dive deeper and stay longer in those healing waters of slumber than you normally would. Your brain is catching up on its most important homework. This isn't just a feeling. It's a measurable, observable phenomenon in sleep labs around the world. Electroencephalograms, those machines that read the brain's electrical symphony, show a clear increase in the amplitude and duration of slow brain waves during recovery sleep. It's the brain's version of working overtime to clean up, to repair, to consolidate everything that was left scattered on the floor of consciousness. And perhaps most reassuring of all, this recovery isn't a one-to-one transaction. You don't need to stay in bed for 48 hours to recover from 48 hours awake. The brain is efficient in its healing. It recovers the most crucial elements first, giving priority to the deep sleep that clears metabolic waste from brain cells and the REM sleep that untangles emotional and cognitive knots. All of this speaks to a fundamental principle of our biology: neural plasticity. This is a term that simply means the brain's ability to change, to adapt, to reorganize itself. For a long time, scientists believed the adult brain was a fixed, hardwired machine. What you had is what you got. We now know this is gloriously untrue. Your brain is more like a living, breathing garden. Pathways can be strengthened with use. This is how we learn a new skill or form a new memory. And pathways can also be pruned back when they're no longer needed, making room for new growth. This plasticity doesn't switch off when you're awake. In fact, wakefulness is a time of intense neural activity, of forming connections. But sleep is when the real gardening happens. It's the quiet time when the brain consolidates the important pathways, waters the seedlings of new memories, and pulls up the weeds of unnecessary information. After sleep deprivation, this gardening system goes into overdrive during recovery sleep. It's not just resting, it's actively remodeling, restoring balance, ensuring the garden of your mind doesn't fall into disrepair. And to truly anchor this idea of resilience in something real, let's return for a moment to Randy Gardner, the young man whose 11-day vigil opened our story. His experience was extreme. a journey to the outer edges of wakefulness that no one should ever attempt to repeat. But his recovery story is the ultimate testament to the body's restorative power. After his record was set and verified, Randy Gardner went to sleep. And he didn't just sleep for a night, he slept for nearly 15 hours straight. When he awoke, medical evaluations began. The lingering effects were there, of course, some residual grogginess, a slight fogginess in his thinking. But day by day, night by night, these faded. Within a week, his cognitive performance on tests returned to normal. His mood stabilized. His physical coordination was restored. There were no signs of permanent neurological damage. Randy Gardner's brain, pushed to an extreme few will ever experience, healed itself completely through the simple, profound act of sleep. His story is a powerful reminder that even after the most severe disruption, the system wants to return to balance. Homeostasis, the body's drive to maintain a stable, constant internal environment, is a powerful force. When you are sleep deprived, every system in your body is crying out for balance. Your hormones are imbalanced, your immune system is on high alert, your neurons are firing in chaotic patterns. Sleep is the reset button. It's the gentle hand that guides all those systems back to their default settings, their calm, regulated state of being. So if you are listening to this, perhaps after a night of poor sleep, or during a stretch of life that has made rest feel elusive, please hold this thought close. Your capacity for recovery is built into you. It is woven into the very fabric of your biology. You are not broken by a single night or even several nights of unrest. You are a resilient being, designed with forgiveness and healing as part of your core programming. The path back is not complicated. It is not a series of complex rituals or special supplements. It is the quiet, humble act of giving yourself permission to rest. It is turning off the lights, closing your eyes, and trusting that your body knows exactly what to do. Tonight, as you settle into your own bed, you can think of your mind not as a machine that has been worn down, but as a landscape that is ready to be tended. The sleep you're about to enter is not an absence of activity, but a profound and active state of restoration. It is your brain practicing its most ancient art, the art of coming back to itself, of weaving together the frayed threads of the day, of preparing you once more for the gentle dawn. You are always one good night's sleep away from beginning again. Your body remembers how. All you need to do is let it. After exploring the vibrant, tireless world of our waking minds, we return to this quiet truth. The darkness is not merely an absence, it's the canvas. The silence is not a void, it's the space for repair. Tonight, Let all you've learned become a testament not to our resilience during the day, but to the profound, necessary magic of the night. Let your breath grow heavy. Let your thoughts dissolve. Surrender now to the essential restorative power of the dark, and know that in this gentle letting go, you are returning not to an end, but to the source of every new beginning.